Hey everyone, welcome back to Occupy Democrats. And yes, we are about to cross over the new year, and it is going to become the year of the midterms. And to that end, Donald Trump, very scared of losing. We need to be honest that he is the person who has given all sorts of people nicknames, and yet he accidentally is the guy who's responsible for giving his press secretary, White House, Karoline Leavitt, her nickname. But in this breaking story, what's important is when you speak in public in anything in life, very often the words you use wind up getting used against you. And it's not what you're thinking in this breaking story, because this is about Karoline Leavitt and the midterms. I'm going to show it to you in a few seconds, but let's take a quick second and realize what she commonly does in the position she is as a sycophant for Donald Trump. Here.
So if there were peaceful protests on Saturday for the military parade, President Trump would allow that?
Of course the president supports peaceful protests. What a stupid question. Raquel. I think two things can be important at the same time. The White Cross is representing people who have perished because of racial persecution, and that's a ridiculous line of questioning. I think two things can be important at the same time.
Oh, she won't give up.
You're asking me for what the president's justification is for these tariffs. It's not up to you. You're not the president, Gabe. I think two things can be important at the same time. Who is saying that she would release this to try to boost her standing with the president? Who has said that?
Well, the president has publicly undermined her when it came to Iran. That was on Air Force One on camera.
Yeah, entitled and rude, just like the rest of Trump's cabinet.
The only people who are suggesting that the Director of National Intelligence would release evidence to try to boost her standing with the president are the people in this room who constantly try to sow distrust and chaos amongst the president's cabinet, and it is not working. I think two things can be important at the same time.
Do you believe
Jennifer,
that he would release that to embarrass the administration ahead of the worldwide threats?
Jennifer, go ahead.
Is there any evidence on that he wasn't aware of it?
You're a reporter. You should find out. Okay, Sean. I think two things can be important at the same time.
No, she'll keep going.
Not to my knowledge, and let me just get to the premise of your question that both of you have raised. I think it's frankly ridiculous that anyone in this room would even suggest that President Trump is doing anything for his own benefit. I think two things can be important at the same time.
Sorry, have you ever paid a tariff? Because I have.
And I think it's insulting that you are trying to test my knowledge of economics, the decisions that this president has made. I now regret giving a question to the Associated Press. I think two things can be important at the same time.
Yes, there is a theme.
The Democrat governor and the Democrat mayor of Los Angeles have failed their citizens.
Two things can be true at the same time, Karoline.
Different things. Foreign terrorist, illegal immigrant criminal, two different things, two different definitions. You should look them up. I think two things can be important at the same time.
In this breaking story, what we need to realize is we use the phrase in sports a lot: once you have tape on a team, once you have film on a team, you can better plan a blueprint and a playbook against them. And that's exactly what is occurring in this breaking story with the man who beat Karoline before she was White House press secretary and ran for office in her home state. And it is a blueprint for success in November at the midterms. Karoline Leavitt has handed this to the Dems. Check this story out.
Voters saw through it. Lawmaker who beat Karoline Leavitt in election drops inside tip. A congressman who beat Karoline Leavitt in an election issued an apology on Sunday for unleashing the White House spokesperson upon the world and gave some insider tips for how to beat her tactics. Representative Chris Pappas, DNH, who is running a tight race for Senate, sent a campaign email over the weekend with a simple apology. "I'm sorry about Karoline Leavitt." According to Pappas, a few years ago, Karoline Leavitt ran against me for Congress here in New Hampshire. Her campaign was steeped in extreme MAGA rhetoric and zero connection to the actual issues Granite Staters face every day. Voters saw right through it and rejected her agenda by nearly 10 points. But that wasn't the end of things, because her campaign gave her national visibility, according to the lawmaker. Unfortunately, that race turned into a national audition. Now the same talking points and spin that New Hampshire voters dismissed are being used daily from the White House briefing room, he wrote before dropping insider tips. So if you're wondering how the rest of the country ended up having to listen to Karoline Leavitt, it's because New Hampshire proved something important first. Her extreme ideas don't hold up when you put them in front of real voters. However, he added, that hasn't stopped the MAGA machine from trying. National Republicans are pouring money into New Hampshire because they think they can break through and notch a win here to cling to their Senate majority, he wrote next. They've lined up behind John Sununu, an NRSC-backed candidate who will vote with Donald Trump and MAGA leadership when it matters most. It's a new candidate reading from the same old playbook.
That's correct. And based on the way Donald Trump has handled his first full 11 months as of today in the White House, we should be heeding, the Dems should be heeding, the DNC should be heeding exactly what we hear her say, how she says it, and exactly what that representative did to beat her in that particular state, which can go either way. And right now, based on the way things are headed, so many more states for the midterms have become more purple than they were necessarily red 11 months ago. So let's not lose sight of the blueprint presented by Karoline Loser Lips Leavitt. You guys subscribe to the channel. Stay frosty.